Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Hey crypto friends, checking back in. So we got a bear break into a bull break into a bear break over the last 4 days, and a little bit of that BART action where the bull move came in a couple minutes of volume out of nowhere and we gave it all back. Let's look at it on the hourly time frame. A little bit more clear. There he is with our big move up. There's this spiky hair, big drop down. Just shows a lot of volatility, and what that tells me is there's a lack of volume. There's a lack of retail trading going on, and that's when the bots really start to see this action take place and things can get choppy. So how I have preserved capital is just not trading in this current environment. Didn't get a piece of that big bull move, and nobody did unless they had orders preset to capitalize on that significant move up, because again, here it is happening in just about 2 minutes worth of time, if not less. 2-minute bull move up. So unless you're sitting there with your button ready to click the buy, or unless you have automated orders, you're not getting that fill. So from there, what I did is to have no FOMO is zoomed out. And I could say, okay, well, that's a nice solid bull move, but anything under 9,600 is just a lower high. So if we're going to be looking at any kind of trend change, we'll let this bull move play out, and then I'll try and get in on a higher low, and then we'll need that trend change to take place. Obviously, none of that happened, so I stayed all cash, and here we are with our daily lower high now set at 91.42, so a new resistance. And again, we just have all these little lower highs on the daily continuing to set resistance levels, and as far as support goes, 85.90, and then a lack of clear supports after that. So we'd look to 8,500, 8,400, some nice round psychological levels. But at this point, as long as we are in a daily downtrend, the bears have control. Big picture. So big picture, we're looking for a monthly higher low to be set. And we're not confident that that has been set yet because it's a lower high every single month and we don't have a clear pivot and bounce. We're currently forming a monthly inside bar. To form our monthly higher low, we need a weekly trend change. To see a weekly trend change, we need a weekly higher low to form. So we saw the big quick bull move. Now we're looking for a higher low, and then we would have to break 10,540 to change the weekly trend. At this point, the bulls are just trying to form a weekly higher low. To form a weekly higher low, we have to change the daily trend. Right now, it's a very clear lower high and lower low pattern on the daily time frame, but you can see by the exercise that I just did, going from one time frame to the next, we can see the criteria that is needed on each shorter term time frame in order to shift momentum or to give bullish signals. And right now, none of that is happening, so the bears are comfortable in the short term as long as the daily time frame is giving us lower highs. So I'm back to all cash. I did get stopped out of the position I had my position 7,311, got stopped out of it just under 9,000 and patiently waiting. At this point, I would only be interested in some 4-hour extreme RSI levels if I'm going to be looking to buy into this weakness. Otherwise, I can patiently wait for at least a 4-hour trend change at a bare minimum, or a daily trend change if I want to be more cautious, more patient. So we only broke support by about $70. So if we were able to see some kind of meaningful bounce from here, again, if we would have to change the 4-hour trend, but if we could, it would be notable that the daily broke without any follow through. But again, a lot of work for the bulls short term to prove anything to us. Otherwise, bears remain comfortable. ETH in a bit of a tightening range. Let's look at this on the 12-hour time frame. And what I would just be watching here is these 3 points: high, low, lower high, and now we're scouting the higher low compared to 180.71. So this 12-hour time frame would be the most important for me in the next few days. And I would make note that there is a potential play off of 180.71 support approaching, keeping in mind that the ETH BTC chart still favorable for the bulls. We got that daily bull break, change of the daily trend, which gave us our weekly higher low. And now all eyes are on the ETH BTC pairing and whether or not we can see a weekly trend change for the first time since 2017 mass hype. 2304 is the level it has to break. We're about 10% away. And that is going to be key into the end of the year for Ethereum. LTC has a daily uptrend still intact. We made a move to a higher high. Anything above 58.68 is a higher low on the daily time frame. And again, the LTC BTC pairing still favorable, but we're still just looking for a weekly lower high to form compared to 78.75. Different setup than ETH BTC, which formed a weekly higher low. LTC is making its move off of its low, so no weekly supports established at this point. That being said, short term, higher lows most clear on LTC out of the three names that we just looked at, and we'll see if the bulls can keep that up. If we lose the daily uptrend on LTC USD, we zoom out and we look for a weekly higher low to try and form compared to 47.22, because just like everybody else, a weekly trend change is needed if we are going to see a monthly higher low established. Have to change these weekly trends with a higher low and then follow through. XRP is all over the place. Big bear break. It was probably the weakest name out of the major altcoins in the last few days. Big bear volume, taking out recent supports. But the weekly chart is still tightening up. So I'm looking at a high, low, lower high, and higher low on the same candlestick. Clear resistance at 315 with a double top. And now the bulls must hold 25 cents to try and hold that weekly higher low. So weekly range is still tightening, but it is weaker than any name that we just looked at with this clear daily bear break and even a daily bear flag trying to follow through and confirm. Broke support, but no follow through, just like Bitcoin at this point. Binance has my attention for clarity because it's a very nice tight equilibrium. So we have our high and our lower high and higher low. Watching for this lower high to potentially be set. But the most important range for me is 1926 support and 2094 resistance. If we get the bull break, the move continues and we look back to 2124, the recent high. If we get the bear break, we zoom out for monthly or for weekly consolidation to be underway, and we look for a higher low compared to 1612. So I always like, in times like this, I'm looking for the names that have tightening daily ranges because I know that there are trades to be had for that break once we get that break. And I would rather be looking for a nice tight clear pattern to break than for a name like Bitcoin, which is just slowly fading bearish. Unless, of course, I were in a bearish position, which I am not. So Binance tight, worth watching. Neo USD is also tight in a similar equilibrium with our high, low, lower high, higher low. Anything under 1175 is a lower high on the daily, and the bulls have to hold 1035 to keep the higher low pattern. So whether it's playing the bull break, which in the current market environment, less favorable, I would rather be entering on support. And just look at these bottom fishing plays. We came down, our support was 1014, we bounced off 1035. So that's 2% of risk, and at this point, we've already gone up 10% from there. And same thing with Binance. Binance support was down at 1911, we bounced off 1926, less than 1% risk off of that support, and now we've seen significant follow through of over 5-7%. So playing off of supports in tightening ranges, more favorable for establishing positions and limiting risk and maximizing reward than buying bull breaks. So if I were looking for Binance here, I'd want to see one more pullback and one more play off of 1926 and 1910 support. And that might be happening here down at 1975. So Neo, we're coming up to resistance, 1175. Personally, I would not be buying a bull break. I want to see one more rejection from 1175 and then one more higher low compared to 1035 for that potential entry. Link USD. So Link USD is not really a tightening range because we are seeing incremental higher lows and higher highs. Bulls have to hold 261 for the daily uptrend to remain intact with that higher low, and resistance is up at 285. Keep in mind, we are looking for a weekly lower high. Well, actually, I would just be waiting for these weekly inside bars to break. We're on our third weekly inside bar in a row. And if we don't break 261 or 285, we're going to stay in this real tight range and look for a break, certainly by next week if we do not break this week. So tightening ranges on watch. And we're going to be looking for the downtrend to be our guide on Bitcoin. As long as the daily downtrend continues, bears are extremely comfortable, have to change that daily trend to get my interest again. Either extreme 4-hour RSI as we head back down towards low 8,000, upper 7,000, or patiently waiting for trend changes and shifts in momentum. Back to all cash, patiently waiting. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll end it here with a couple clips from the recent music festival I was at. And certainly is very unnatural for me to have a camera around when I'm doing anything fun. The last thing I want to do is bust out a camera. So I did maybe a couple times, didn't really capture any of the music or any of the festival activities. That's the way she goes, but it was a cool event just in the sense that it was on a nature preserve, 6,000 acres, bunch of lakes everywhere, and it was very easy to just walk away and be on your own. And when I'm around that many people and that much energy, I definitely need breaks, whether it's napping and just disappearing, or early in the morning putting on my headphones and going for a walk to where there's nobody else. And that's what I need for a recharge when I'm around that many people. But the music was great. It was a lot of fun. Definitely looking forward to getting back in my routine and back in my bed, but a nice once a year occasion at most these days for me in music festivals. So do good things out there, and we'll see you in the near term future. Bears have short term control, but keep an eye on the altcoins that are trading sideways in tightening ranges.